Om Shri Ganeshaya Namo Namah. Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are. Those are joining for this particular special program, which is coming from the Pink City today. That's a wonderful city called Jaipur. Whenever you travel to India, you must go to Jaipur. It's a wonderful city. It's a beautiful city, and it is a scintillating and a very captivating city. And there's also a beautiful place because I come from the tourism background. So when you enter by road, you've got Amir Fort on the right hand side, enjoy other places, Hawa Mahal and all, but you must go to Chowki Dhani also because something very nice. And then there is a place called Apno Gaon that also you enjoy. And if you've got a little more time, go to Jodhpur, go to Udaipur, go to Jaisalmer. And of course, if you're coming in month of December, you must go to Pushkar festival as well. It's something it's very nice. If you're traveling by train, travel by Palace on Wheels. It's a beautiful journey and amazing. You will enjoy. And for a time being, you will feel that you are Maharaja Khat Singh Ji of Jodhpur because it's such a palatial kind of a train, which is a wonderful train which you can enjoy. So with these words, let's move on. Why did I talk about tourism? Because my efforts are to keep everybody happy, mentally happy, physically happy, spiritually happy, environmentally happy, and of course the challenge which we all are facing, economically happy, because all kind of a wellness is required. And that's why in education ecosystem, we must consider our principals, our headmasters, our teachers, our counselors, our educators, our technocrats. They are not less than any doctor in uniform. There you see the white clothes doctor. Here you can see in different costumes, whatsoever gracefully they carry, and they bring lot of values and happiness to parents, to children, to students, and everybody. So, like doctors, nurses, paramedical people, they have done a wonderful job during the pandemic. Our teachers, our trainers, our educators, our principals, they are phenomenal. They have taken on such a big responsibility on their shoulders. And I understand they are burnt out because they had to take care of children also, they had to take care of their colleagues also, their teamwork also, leadership also. A lot of qualities have got exhibited. And on the top of everything, it was happening from 25th of March 2020, zoom all around, and a lot of challenges were coming technically, but slowly and gradually everybody has got settled in the saddle by this time. Teachers, those are from psychological background, like Rita P. Taneja ma'am, the principal Delhi Public School, because she has studied that subject, she understands that subject, so she can handle that way. And same thing goes for our two another distinguished guests, Dr. Anjana Kumar, Principal, Rukmani Birla High School, and Madam Urvashi Varman, Principal, the Palace School. So that's something very amazing. They will be sharing their thought process with you. Mental wellness is very important when the education ecosystem is now repacked, repackaged, rethought, refabricated, and it is getting opened up now once again. So we got to take care of our educators, we got to take care of our students, and at the same time, now the parents have also joined the schools because during this pandemic, the grandma also and the mama also, papa also and grandpa also, everybody was sitting next to the screen depending on who has got time, and they all were learning. They were learning extra, although they have not got enrolled formally and paid their fee, but they all were also enjoying. And that's what something very interesting when I listen from lots of parents and grandparents that, oh, we also learned a lot during this pandemic. So that is something very amazing, ladies and gentlemen. While extending a very warm welcome to all the distinguished ladies this evening on Friday, 18th of February, 2022, it gets down into the history because this program is going live universal, is going global. And wherever you are, please take care of your health and take care of your wellness. We want the education system once again to revive, and we are rethinking, we are repackaging, and of course the digital education is going to stay over there, and you may call it a flip learning, outside classroom learning, blended learning, hybrid learning. So all my brothers and sisters, almost 31 million Indians abroad, one promise and one commitment you have to make to me, that whatever you want to do it in India, for the next 5 years, let's look after the education vertical. At the same time, the corporate houses, because you have to spend 2% of your total profit as a CSR activity, why don't you spend on education? Any nation which is educated, where the children are educated, because lots of challenges are coming. We have got more than 12,000 speakers during the last 2 years plus. And what we learn over here is every day is a great learning from everybody. We are for service industry. Our chamber is for service industry. And we have been working very closely with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, 12 champion sectors being identified, and education and skill one very important. Similar way, micro, small and medium enterprise, because a lot of startups are coming up, entrepreneurs are coming up, self-employed people are coming up. So we worked very closely with the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, where we brought the services component, and we requested the government, it should be brought at par with the manufacturing sector. And we are grateful to Madam Nirmala Sitharamanji, the Honorable Finance Minister of India. She announced on 13th May itself in 2020, that is services sector will be here onward, will be at par now with the manufacturing sector. So this triangle, when you draw, education, skills and MSME, they are inseparable. If we want to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat, our teachers have to play a very important role. Parents have to play a very important role. They are the new entry now in the vertical, directly, in the education ecosystem. So all of us together, Shiksha, Kaushalta and Udmita. We are grateful to our NRI brothers and sisters and Indian corporate. Way back in 1994, when this chamber came into existence of the NRIs, and thereafter in 2003, Pravasi Bharati Divas, we wish to share with all of you that we brought India's first finishing school for service industry. It's a great thought. It's a great vision. Once you get into the details, you'll come to know how the teachers can be empowered, how the youth can be empowered, what exactly the addition value can be done over there, and particularly working on their personal and professional growth through personality enhancement, communication, collaboration. And 52,000 youth have gone from the chamber, 35,000 teachers have gone, and we have been focusing on something which is beyond B.Ed and beyond M.Ed, which you don't find in general education. 25th March, big challenge to the entire humanity, something like Spanish flu. And we thought, why not we should focus on education, making education relevant. And you can see our journey right from that time till date. We have come a long way, and we are just focusing on the entire mental wellness, physical wellness, environmental wellness, community wellness, learn, relearn, and unlearn, skill, upskill, reskill, whatever you want. It's going to be a lifelong learning. And we also strongly believe that the new education policy, which was given on 29th of July after 34 years of interval and a break, is going to be the game changer once it gets implemented in real sense with 6% of the GDP budget. Now, there are 37 sector skill councils. They're doing amazing work. We are working very closely with them. We are thankful to Dr. Nirmaljeet Singh Kalsi, because all the ITIs, polytechnics, skill universities, skill centers, SSCs, sector skill councils, and a couple of other things which are coming, they all are under now the framework of National Council for Vocational Education and Training. And do join. There is a program being brought, and that you can see in a detail by the different ministries. And Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India has taken a lot of initiative. And in that, Mr. Mohit Soni, the CEO of the Media Entertainment Skill Council, is doing a great, phenomenal work. And on 21st February, they are bringing a special program at 11:30 a.m. Don't forget to join, because Information and Broadcasting Ministry, how the digital education and dynamic skilling is going to be together. Our chamber, whatever brick and mortar, we had the finishing school, it has gone totally digital. Now it's e-Gurukul, where there's more music, dance, games, happiness, humor, fun, creativity, curiosity, storytelling. And we strongly believe education got to be relevant to our day-to-day life. So ladies and gentlemen, Way back, Napoleon Hill wrote one book, and the opening remarks, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together. Let's work together. Tomorrow evening at the same time, 8 p.m., we will be taking you to Northeast India Educators Forum, where you will have inspirational educators. And tomorrow you will have different dimensions. We will talk about new education policy 2020 also. We'll talk about mental wellness also. We'll talk about the bandwidth also. We'll talk about digital technology also. A couple of things will come through tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. This is your YouTube channel. This program is going live. And today we extend a very warm welcome. We can have a couple of questions in between, and depending on the correct answers which will come, we can share some prizes, some rewards and awards for our participants. And with these words, ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a very warm welcome. We have got Madam Rita P. Taneja, the Principal, Delhi Public School, Jaipur, Dr. Anjana Kumar, the Principal, Rukmani Birla High School, Jaipur, and Madam Urvashi Verman, Principal, the Palace School, Jaipur. So today we all are traveling, no ticket, business class travel on Palace on Wheels. Hospitality is going to be given by Rita P. Taneja ma'am, because she, along with another two ladies, will give the entire hospitality to all of you. Let's travel with mental fitness, mental robustness, mental wellness, entire education ecosystem. With these words, I hand you over in a very safe hands of Rita ma'am. Let her take on the floor, and I want to go silent because I'm in minority now and I must keep quiet. Whatever I had to say, I have said. Now, let's take on the journey, Rita ma'am, and we move ahead. Education, educators, teachers, parents, students, mental health, challenges, difficulties, problems, whatever is coming on the way, let's take on anything in the education ecosystem framework. With these words, hearty welcome to all of you. Namaskar, and I hand you over to Rita Taneja.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Thank you very much for the warm words and the kind introduction that you have given us to ICSI and all the great work that you have been doing to the world of education, bringing awareness and making us all join, connect, and interact and learn from each other. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. A very warm welcome to Ms. Urvashi Varman, Principal Palace School, and Dr. Anjana Kumar, Principal Rukmani Birla Modern High School. Today we are here to talk about wellness. We all know that mental wellness is a positive state of mental health. It is more than the absence of mental illness. And being mentally well means that your mind is in order and functioning in your best interest. We are able to think, feel, and act in a way that create a very positive impact on our physical and social well-being. As you are coming, both of you are coming from a background of a school, a CBSE school, catering to nursery to class 12 students. With your experiences, we would request you to take us through to understanding how mental wellness works and what should we as educators do about it. I cordially invite Ms. Urvashi Varman to take on the lead and help us. Ms. Urvashi Varman is the principal, of course, of the Palace School. She has been associated with the field of education for more than 2 decades. She has worked in very prestigious schools and now leading one of the prestigious schools of the city. She has written a lot of books on general awareness and environmental science for primary school children. She has penned several articles for various newspapers, a prolific writer, reader, and she has featured in many magazines and journals. She has also written a lot of plays which have been appreciated nationally. She has won many awards, and she is working in close association with children of Rajasthan and bringing wonderful aspects of education and mental well-being to her students. She has taken part in a lot of talk shows in the country and internationally also. She has been nominated as the Rajasthan Commissioner Headquarters for Guides also by the Bharat Scouts. So by her introduction, we know that she is in every aspect of education and she is rendering her help to all the children and handholding her students to move forward. I'll request Urvashi ma'am to share her experiences with students in mental well-being.
Thank you so much, Rita ma'am. Uh, I think what you spoke
Urvashi.
about, thank you so much, Rita ma'am. I think what you spoke about mental wellness was very apt. And what you said about the behavior and the feelings of the child, these two things really aptly describe when we come to know when there is something which is not quite right with the kids. Nowadays, we find increasing incidents of depression amongst the youngsters, which is one of the very, very serious mental illnesses which are prevalent in our times. And it has been noticed that survey and studies have shown that nearly 20% of youngsters suffer depression before they hit the age of 20, especially between 15 and 20. And it's an alarming number, and unfortunately the numbers are rising up. So over the years, what I have noticed is that the major reasons which come across for depression amongst youngsters would be peer pressure, academic pressure, uh, body changes that happen during the teenage years, and sometimes all three matters combined together, which become very, very overwhelming for a child to handle. And the saddest part is that even today, the awareness is lacking amongst majority of the parents towards this issue, which is a very, very serious issue. It is still believed that depression hits elders and seniors, maybe middle-aged people or older people, which is so wrong because in today's day and age, it's the youngsters who are suffering the most from it. And most of the time, when these children suffer from depression, the parents are not aware of it, the teachers are unable to spot it, and then we have the problem which spirals totally and it completely impacts the life of these children as they grow up. So, we in our school pay a lot of attention to the mental wellness of the children because it's basically a triangle if we see mental wellness and social well being and physical well being, they're all connected. And if one thing goes wrong, the other gets affected. If a child is comes down with some kind of a long-term terminal illness, he's definitely going to depress. In fact, anybody would get depressed. But that is not so common a factor. What we realize is most of these children tend to put themselves under pressure for academic excellence. Maybe the pressure comes on, it's a self built pressure. Sometimes the pressure comes in from the family, and sometimes it's the peer pressure. Peer pressure also works the opposite way. Sometimes they come under pressure because their need to be accepted by their friends is very high. And sometimes, in their need to get accepted by their friends, they end up getting into wrong habits. They end up getting into substance abuse because they wish to get be accepted in a certain group of their peers, which again compounds the problem. Most of the time, we tell our parents and teachers to be aware to look out for certain signs when we talk of how to recognize the child is depressed. So the first thing to notice is, are there any prolonged stages of sadness? Does the child have the tendency to start weeping time and again? Or is the child very short tempered, highly irritable, and tends to lose his or her anger very easily, answers back, misbehaves, throws tantrums, and this becomes like a regular feature? Or also, if the child is hypersensitive, takes offense too easily, even at the slightest of any correction done by the teacher or the parent or a sibling or a friend, and the child is likely to flare up and take offense and and then think that he's been insulted or he's not being trusted or she's not being trusted. So when these incidents become alarmingly frequent and the parents are unable to figure out what is going wrong, I think that's the wake up time. And at the time parents sat with the child and actually ask what is wrong. Many times the children are not even able to figure out what is wrong with them. because they're not able to understand and decipher their own emotions. They just know that I'm confused and I'm unhappy and I'm angry because nobody understands me. So if the parent finds that he is or she is not able to handle the kid, it is absolutely necessary that professional help be sought. And the first thing is refer back to the school. The school will have a counselor. Talk to the teachers, talk to the counselors, get a feedback from them. How is the child's behavior within the school hours? Or talk to even the friends. What is the level of interaction? Has the child stopped socializing? Has he stopped interacting? Is he too much with his own self, or he's too much into gadgets? So the parent has to be very alert. Even the teachers have to be very alert. If they find that suddenly the child's grades start slipping, and a child who was doing reasonably well or was doing very well suddenly has his performances gone down, and there's no reason why he should not be doing well. So these are all telltale signs. So it's very, very important that these signs be understood, and parents and teachers have to be very vigilant to look out for these signs.
Urvashi
And
ma'am, you have also been a pioneer in setting up special education needs cell also in your school. You
yes,
have
ma'am.
beautifully named it as Magic Pie. I think you have a lot of special educators who are full-time working in your school to help the children. You have a speech therapist, a full-time occupational therapist within the school environment. So do you think this effort also has brought in more awareness? I think you are the one of its kind in the city. So, is it helping the children to understand themselves better? And are the teachers also more aware because of presence of this cell in your school?
Absolutely, ma'am. The Magic Pie has absolutely, I would say, at least it has revolutionized the ecosystem of my school. And for sure, because that is what it is supposed to do. Because through this cell, we have been able to sensitize the parents, we have been able to sensitize the teachers and the students about what learning disability or difficulty means. It is sad, that majority of the students, not I would say majority, but a good number of students sometimes struggle academically, and parents are not able to figure out that at home my child answers gives all the correct answers. If I ask any question and answers, the child goes pat pat, he gives all the answers very rightly. The teacher also feels that if I ask questions, the child is able to answer. But what happens when the child starts writing? Why does the child flounder? Why does the child score less and end up making a mess when otherwise he knows the answer? On the other hand, there are children who are very slow to understand. If a topic is being taught, if the whole class can understand in 30 minutes, maybe that child needs to be catered to for 1 hour separately and takes a while to understand. So this is where, when there is no awareness and understanding, these children are berated so badly within the school or a college environment, because everybody tends to call them lazy. Everybody tends to say that they don't work hard, that they are naughty, they don't understand, they don't make an effort, they are wasting the time and effort and energy of their parents, without understanding the fact that it is beyond the child. The child is not able to help himself because it's a serious problem. And here again, the child suffers from low self esteem, which is the first precursor to heading towards depression. And it can really have a very bad impact even on the adult life of the child. So definitely having the Magic Pie and having special educators and regular sensitizations happening in the school for parents, for students and teachers has definitely made the environment more sensitive and caring.
Urvashi ma'am, you have been a wonderful storyteller and you have authored a book recently which has really won acclaim all over the nation for you, Japi, the camel. So, do you think, ma'am, you can use this storytelling pedagogy also to help the children to become more mentally well and sound?
Absolutely. I think you've brought a very good point. Storytelling is a very powerful pedagogical tool. And apart from academics, I think you brought a very, very valid point, Rita ma'am. I think stories go a long way. They can go a long way to help the child who's suffering from depression understand himself. If such a child is told stories about children who maybe in a similar situation that he or she is, then the child gets to feel that I'm not alone. There are more people who feel like me. There are more people who are lost like me, who feel they're not understood. And then, if the story is well woven, given the correct direction, it definitely will give a lot of succor to such a child, and also will help the parents and the adults around, the caregivers around the child, to understand what and how the problem can be tackled. So that's a brilliant suggestion, ma'am, and I plan to take it up.
So, ma'am, do you have like, a system where the children who are not very happy or who are not doing well, how do you assess them, and how can the teacher become a first counselor? So, how do you handle that situation?
Right. So if we find that a child has consistently not been doing well academically, or the child is maybe doing okay in academics, but is very socially withdrawn and is very quiet, lacks eye contact, and has the body language is not very proper. The body language shows that the child has got a lot of personality issues. In such a case, the teachers, they are the first ones to identify these things in the classroom. So they're sensitized, and they are kind of trained to how to spot such problems. Second thing they do is, not all the teachers are advised to do counseling because they're not trained to do it. So in that case, they are told to approach the counselor and tell the counselor about the problem. So whether it is they go to the counselor, if it's an academic problem, they go to the Magic Pie, and the trained teachers and counselors then come to the class to observe such a child, without the child knowing that he or she is getting observed. They observe the children within the classroom, outside the classroom, in the playground, maybe laboratory or the dance class and the music class. So 1 or 2 days, the child is observed very closely by these trained professionals. And then probably the child is sometimes called for by either the counselor or the special educators. And then they have an informal interaction without making the child conscious. And when the problem is identified, then proper remedial actions are taken, where the parent is also equally involved in helping the child gain back his and her mental and emotional wellness.
That's really nice. We have with us Dr. Anjana Kumar also, who's the principal of Rukmani Birla Modern High School. Dr. Anjana Kumar has done her schooling from MGD Girls School, the most prestigious one. She is also done her BA, MA, MPhil, and she has done her PhD. She has been a PGT for 22 years and principal for last 9 years. She is also a very, very capable CBSE resource person. Anjana ma'am, we've been talking about the depression and the mental wellness for children. And Urvashi ma'am has told us how she's been able to handle the children with the first signs, diagnosis, and she's also got a special cell. And we also spoke about how the teacher is the first counselor. But ma'am, teacher is always the caregiver in the school. How do we handle in our schools the mental wellness of the teachers, the care providers, the counselors? So how do you look after that, ma'am, as a principal?
Thank you, Rita. I think Urvashi has covered a lot of things when she's talked about the children. When we talk about teachers, one thing I must say is there's a lot of stigma attached to actually people don't talk about it. When we are talking about mental health on this forum, it's a great way forward because till now people hardly used to talk about mental health amongst children or amongst adults. So, oh, this is a great way forward. I must tell you that yes, teachers are accustomed to caring about the social, emotional well being of their students and are trained to keep a check on the signs of anxiety, depression, bullying, aggression amongst the children who are there in their care. Yet, I must say that they hardly pay attention or they hardly talk about their own mental health or whatever they are feeling. Okay, like Urvashi talked about listlessness amongst children, they're feeling unwanted, isolated. The same feeling may be there amongst the teachers. Usually, what we do is when there is a clear change in behavior of teachers, that is the first indication that there's something wrong. They feel stressed out. These are things, I mean, just imagine. Let me come to one point, one quote that has stayed with me for all these years as a teacher is, I read it, this is written by G.B. Shaw, and he says, "He who can does, he who cannot teaches." Okay, so I mean, people have this feeling that yes, teaching is a very easy profession. Teachers get long leaves and they get paid leaves. They go home very early. Okay, so they think that, oh, it's such an easy job. But just imagine students from different backgrounds, different learning levels, and different needs packed into one classroom, and the teacher has to deal with all of them. And the teacher does try his best, his or her best, all day long to cater to different needs. They have to continuously, think about lesson plans and differentiated learning. Now, of course, there's a lot of technology that is involved in teaching. And of course, experiential learning is the, byword now. And then they have to communicate with parents. And during these COVID times, during the pandemic, communicating with parents, I must say my fellow principals also would agree, was like hitting your head against the wall. It was so stressful for all of us as teachers. So I think somewhere it has taken a backstage that yes, mental health of the teachers is also very important. Nowadays, we've started talking about the mental health of the children. That's a wonderful thing. But I must say that it is a two-way street. A teacher-student mental health is a two-way street. If the teacher feels healthy enough, mentally, physically, so will the child. The academic growth of the child will be directly impacted by the teacher's well-being. And this is what needs to be recognized. And, somewhere we fail to realize that. And we are focusing entirely as a school. I'm sure other people would also agree to it. Our focus is entirely on the teachers, and we keep loading the teachers with work, work, and work. And that is why there's a total burnout for them. They feel stressed out and they feel they cannot talk about it because there are targets they have to meet. There are lesson plans they have to write. They have to incorporate, different, there are special needs children in the classroom. And of course, Urvashi ma'am has a special cell, which is very well structured. In our school, it may not be very well structured, but we try and do something for these children with special needs. Everything a class teacher or a teacher is expected to do. Now, the expectations are so high that definitely, where is the work? People say that, okay, you go home and you rest, there's hardly any work. But if a teacher is coming back home at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, she carries the work home. I mean, who realizes that? There are copies, notebooks that she's checking. There are lesson plans that she's making. And there are assessment, question papers that she is planning out. There is the next day experiential learning class that she is planning out for. And then she's managing her own family. So stress levels are something that are unimaginable when you think about a teacher. What are the various factors you can talk about? Of course, high demands of her job. That is one thing. Then you have, I must say, this is one very important factor in this pandemic. That is the popularity of digital learning. I think that has also stressed out teachers. When the pandemic set in, I think many of us were totally unprepared for the kind of work that we had to do. And modern teaching methods involve a lot of technology and experiential learning. So teachers have to make their classroom active, interesting, impactful. So imagine how do they plan everything? technology that they had incorporated into their teaching style was something that was totally new for them. They had just dabbled in it here and there before the pandemic set in, and then they had to go full on with online teaching. Then you must say that, yes, another factor that really affects the mental health of the teachers is that large class sizes. You have, at least in India, you do have a classroom that has 30, 35 children, even 40 children, maybe even more in certain schools. And then you have different learning needs of each child. So diversity in the classroom and the differentiated classroom learning, planning lessons, tracking data, taking assessments, and marking homework only increases the workload of the teacher. I think we just forget about the teacher he was like the multitasking person doing everything at one time. It's very difficult. There is also disruptive behavior in the classroom, which we must have seen during online classes, some of it which we could control, some which we could not. That also stresses out the teacher. Okay, we don't have many support groups for teachers. Of course, counseling for children is definitely there. But do we really think about counseling of teachers? Yes. The principal does have a one-to-one counseling of any teacher who's behaving differently. We never call it mental well-being. If the teacher is not meeting targets, not doing her work properly, this is how we term it. But do we actually put it in the category of mental well-being? Urvashi just talked about students. We just say the child is lazy, the child doesn't want to do the work. Okay, he's always like that. We label a child. Don't we label the teacher also? Yeah. We do. We end up doing that. So these are things. There has to be more understanding where teachers' well-being is concerned. There has to be support groups. There has to be training for the teachers. There has to be counseling sessions where the teacher is able to talk about what affects her, what has actually changed her behavior. They really don't get any, you can say, sounding board in the school. So we need to help them professionally, yes, but we need to help them, give them support when they feel burnt out. That is very important for us. So these are things that I feel like in my school, what I can talk about my school. I always tell the teachers, change what you can and manage what you can't. You need to, because they can't feel stressed out. You won't actually get quality work from the teachers. They won't be able to focus. They won't be, the emotional well-being of the teacher is directly connected to the emotional well-being of the student also, and ultimately to the academic growth of the child. So if the teacher is emotionally strong and is able to stay balanced and is able to conduct her classes properly, cater to the differentiated needs of the children, yes, we need to give her that support and tell her we are there whenever you need us, which somehow is lacking. And I feel that we can do something that will help our teachers. I think of course, CBSE has started with various initiatives where teachers are actually considered as counselors, and they are given training because they deal with children firsthand. But somewhere there has to be some kind of counseling for the teachers, which is very, very important. And during the pandemic, again, I would say that, yes, Rita ma'am asked me about teachers. So this is what I have to say about teachers, but I would like to say it is the teachers who are in direct contact with the parents. And when they are in direct contact with the parents, the mental well-being of the parents is also very important. It affects
that was exactly my next question to you, Anjana ma'am.
Yeah,
That we all agree, that mental wellness is an internal resource, basically. It
yeah,
helps us to think, feel, connect, and function. It's an active process which helps us to build, be resilient, be
yes,
flourishing, growing. So, amongst the teachers and students also comes a very important link, that is parents. So
yes.
now, definitely with the pandemic and the all the sudden changes which happened in economy, parents were also equally affected. So how did we as schools take up that challenge to connect to the parents, make them the partners in education of their children when they were locked up in their homes with just devices? So what did we do as schools? I think the question is open to both my friends. If you could take up that and tell us how parents were helped out in being a part of the learning ecosystem.
Rita ma'am, I'll talk about my school. First thing that I realized after the pandemic set in is initially we were all locked up at home. There was hardly any communication except through circulars and notices being sent to parents and all that. The first time, a few parents had landed up at my school because everything was locked up, and they wanted some concessions. And I realized when I sat and talked to them, I realized the best thing to do is talk, communicate. And if you're a good listener and listen to what they are going through, actually they feel slightly relieved. So whether it is the teacher's well-being, or it is a child's well-being, or it is a parent's well-being, the first thing to do, what I realized was that communication is the key. So it has to, you should have an open door policy so that either the child or the parent or the teacher feels they can come to you and communicate with you. So that was one channel that I kept open, that yes, we would communicate. If I was not there, there would be somebody in school who would be there to listen to what they wanted.
Mhm.
So it has worked in some ways. And I wouldn't say it was 100% success, but yes, it's worked wonders. That is one thing. And another thing that I realized was that if you could have open sessions with teachers and parents together, so that they would be able to talk to each other somewhere. We did organize some get-togethers, not during the pandemic, but when the city had opened up, and we talked to certain class parents and all that. So we called them over for a cup of tea, and we did talk to them. So it relieved a lot of tension that was there. Yes, the parents have gone through a lot during the pandemic financially. Some of them have faced a lot of difficulties, and even otherwise, they've had to go through a lot of emotional and psychological turmoil in their life. So if we are there to listen to them, that has worked for us.
I agree.
Urushi ma'am.
Yes, I agree with you, Anjana. Communication is the key, and I think it has always been the key. And during the pandemic, once when the pandemic started, I think none of us expected that it would last so long. So initially, we thought, okay, it's here for
For
10
two
days,
years.
days, maybe a month. Oh, it'll be gone by June. This is 2020 that we thought, July, everything will be good. And the 21 is going to be good. So when things did not get well, when April, it all kind of burst out, and March was bad, April got worse, May was even worse than that. Enter June. And by June, we knew that there's something seriously wrong in the world. And by this time, everybody had been cloistered within the confines of their homes for now nearly 2 months, or more than 2 months. And we could see emotional outbursts happening, flare-ups happening. Everybody was under stress. Anjana, you spoke so well about the stressful situations which are faced by the teachers. But I would say even the parents and the children, when we talk of the digital classes, my God, it had its plus point. It took the school to the bedroom and the drawing room of the parents. So in a way, it was good because they finally saw it is not easy to teach their kids, and it's the teacher really has to work very hard. So that was the plus point of it. They learned to appreciate. the kind of work which is being done by the teachers. But at the same time, even for a parent, it was so stressful that there has to be pin drop silence in the house when a child is taking the class, and there shouldn't be a sibling crying or yelling or a pet dog barking. Likewise for the teachers also, and the doorbell ringing, and so many small challenges, but difficult ones because they were facing it on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
And of course, the parents also had a tough time, we realized, because everyone had lost their routine. So there were children and parents who were up till 12 at night and 1 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the morning. The children were getting up, they were finding it difficult to get up at 9 in the morning, and the kids were getting out of hand. So when we saw the things, we felt, and some parents communicated that they were unable to handle the situation anymore. That's when we also decided in our school to have a session, for the parents, which was conducted by my school counselor and myself, and we met the parents in groups online, and we talked about mental wellness and emotional wellness to them, and we brought out how they can help their children maintain some decorum, some routine in their life during a time when everybody had lost their routine and there was just stress everywhere. So we had these very sessions which proved to be very fruitful, because the parents got that platform, Anjana, that you were talking of. They were able to voice their concerns. We had mothers who were in tears, and they said that, yeah, and they found suddenly that solidarity was there, that I'm not alone who's facing this problem. It's not
Exactly.
just a child who has made my life miserable. So everybody is kind of sailing in the same boat. The degrees may be varying. So it was a good platform where there was a very good interaction between the counselor, myself, the parents, and the teachers. And so, those, I think, somewhere along the line, it helped all of us to understand that whatever was happening, we have to either swim together or sink together. So, communication, you're absolutely right, Anjana, was the key. And till date, it has
It
helped.
is the key. Right.
It has
So,
really helped.
so I think the kind of, if you say the 10 goals now would be getting the children back to school, building trust and confidence among parents and the society at large, that schools are here to support you, help you, make you resilient and strong. We should be trying to make a health and well-being community in the school itself. We, as principals and teachers, need to articulate the worries and anxieties of students, teachers, and parents, have open communication conversations among the stakeholders about mental health now. We need to rebuild the social connections that we somehow have seemed to have lost inside and outside our school. We need to now look at the learning gaps which happened. We all know that we need to address the inequities which have happened because of the digital devices and divide. And somehow we need to now have more projects which involve the community. So we have to integrate building resilience, accepting change into curriculum. It's a huge, audacious task that we have in front of us as educators. So any last comments on this, Urvashi ma'am?
Rita ma'am, I think you've just summed it all so beautifully by saying that what all really needs to be done. And I think everything that you have said is absolutely spot on right. And I think the best way to go about is to always remember to be empathetic to the parent, to the child, to the teacher, not to rush in with our overambitious goals about achieving certain goals that we usually set, our targets are set in school, whether it is for achieving academic excellence or completing the syllabus. Everything has to be done in a practical and a realistic manner, keeping the emotional well-being of the child in mind, the foremost. Because Anjana very rightly said, it's a two-way street. The teacher's emotional well-being affects the child, and the child's emotional well-being also affects the teacher, and in turn the parent gets affected. So we are a part of a same ecosystem, and we need to support each other with a lot of empathy, compassion, and love. So I think that way, that is the best way forward, I feel, with the goals that you have said, very nicely put together.
Anjana ma'am, you said it very
Yes.
nicely that talking about mental wellness will help us to shift the perspective away from stigma to a shared responsibility. A closing remark from you, ma'am.
Um, I must share one experience with you. Today, I had a parent in school who came and said, ma'am, how do you all manage so many children in school? You manage 40 in a class and we can't manage 2 at home. Okay, so there is a renewed appreciation for what we do, and we also understand what the parents have gone through. So that's wonderful. We started, I mean, they've noticed that they've observed us teaching all these online classes that we have taken, and they understand the preparation that has gone into it, and of course they appreciate our efforts, and in turn even the teachers, they do understand how important the parents are for us. So they understand that there is an interconnectedness between all 3 stakeholders. It's the child, the parent, and the teacher. So this understanding, of course, will take us places, and we'll really come out of this pandemic with flying colors. I see that ray of hope. If there is a crack, anybody has seen, and it is only through the crack the light shines. So let's wait for that light.
So thank you, dear friends. Thank you, educators and principals, for enlightening us on this topic of mental wellness. By now, we know that
Your mic is muted, ma'am. Your mic is muted.
So thank you, dear friends, for educating us on mental wellness and helping us to understand that there should not be a stigma. We should talk about it. Open communication always helps. And mental wellness is multidimensional, holistic, and personal. It definitely, we need to recognize it. No doubt, with the challenges that we had in the pandemic, the attitude of gratitude also has set in amongst our school, the parents, teachers, and children. So let us hope that we continue the two-way street of communication and let it become an open conversation and encourage people talking about their worries and anxieties and make our schools conducive place for children to grow, and let it not just be a cliched term, all-round personality development. Let our schools become really the cradles for all-round development of our students. Thank you so much, dear friends, for sparing the time and discussing a much needed topic of the hour. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sharma, for giving us an opportunity to get together, talk about it.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's wonderful. Just before I convey my deep gratitudes and thanks to all 3 of you, few takeaways. And in education, unless you don't give a homework, nothing moves. So that is something very important which I have to share with you. First thing is that why do we call it mental health? Why not to call it mental wellness? Because when you talk about health, what comes to my mind is pills, capsules, surgery, stitching, so many things, opening up, winding up. No. But when you talk about wellness, I think about yoga, meditation, early in the morning, dalia, and in the afternoon, salad, and in the evening, soup. So that goes with the wellness, right? My mom prepared the cup of tea for me while program was going on. So why not we should call it mental wellness instead of mental health? Second part, I wish to give some task to Urvashi ma'am, because Rita ma'am made a mention about storytelling. And there was something very interesting in the CBSE program, as well as the Sector Skill Council for Media Entertainment. There was a lady from Bangalore, Aparna Atharya, and she is a storyteller, group captain's wife, and she made a beautiful story. And how the 45 minutes had gone, we do not know, and you can never forget that lesson. So storytelling is very important. So Urvashi ma'am, my request to you and the homework to you is there any storytellers club in India? Is there any storytellers forum in India? Is there any storytellers association in India? Please do let us know, because we would like to hold a special program of storytellers.
Dr. Sharma, you'll be glad to know, I'm sorry to cut in, that Urvashi ma'am also happens to be a regional mentor for a club called Pick a Book. So she is the biggest storyteller. Okay. And so you can always invite her for
Great.
telling engaging,
Great.
immersive, meaningful stories.
Great. Great. Wonderful. There's another lady whom we all witnessed the other day. The CBSE had arranged a program, and there were 1 lakh teachers, trainers, principals. That lady is Rohini Vij. She came as a storyteller, and I witnessed that program.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it so well. Finally, I tried to reach her and would be getting her soon. She's based out of Kanpur. She comes from Kangra in Himachal. All the homework we have done, but her narration of the story was so beautiful. So thereby, one day, I want to have a special program with about 20 story tellers and CBSE, Navodaya Vidyalaya, Kendriya Vidyalaya, everybody coming together, including the state boards. That is my second part. So please find out what all do we have. Another thing, why don't we bring music in education? When you teach geography with music, when you teach history with music, when you teach mathematics with music, one will never ever forget. So we should incorporate music in education ecosystem. When we know that teachers are burnt out, principals are burnt out, everybody has gone through. And let me salute all my teachers and principals. You all have made the show go on. It was something like a Raj Kapoor's मेरा नाम जोकर, काम चलना चाहिए, काम रुकना नहीं चाहिए, whether it comes from the mobile or it comes from the laptop or it comes from any means, radio, television, NCRT, NIPA, whatever we talk about, but this was there. Finally, parents are going to play a very important role. Yes, the other day, there was an address by Anita Karwalji, the Secretary School Education, and she was addressing the forum of the CBSE. I attended that program. And she made a mention about graphic novel. So I personally feel we should not take this pandemic as a punishment. Rather, I personally feel, because I'm also a teacher, I'm also an educator, I'm also a trainer, I'm also a coach, I'm also a mentor. And whenever I'm traveling abroad or within India, wherever I am, and interacting with the youth and teachers, what comes to my mind is, it was education. Nobody would have paid attention. We would have remained backbenchers, obsolete and obsolescent kind of a curriculum coming to us and imposed on us had this pandemic not come. This pandemic has realized, re-realized, learn and relearn that teachers play a very important role in our life. Institutions, schools, colleges, they all play a very important role in our life. So thereby, let's take it. We were teaching in a traditional way with the 19th century syllabi of the Europe, 20th century techniques of America, and looking forward to get into 21st century becoming a Vishwaguru. So I think this pandemic and this jolt and this particular halt which had come, it accelerated the path for all of us. Digital technology is going to play a very important role for us. Finally, before we close the session, I wish to tell Rita ma'am, why not we should bring mental wellness experts. That means the counselors in different schools, counselors in different colleges together on a common platform. And then we will bring the experts from the Wellness Sector Skill Council. We'll try and work it out and plan it out. Let the demand and supply meet together on a common platform. And we are thinking seriously to organize about 50 mental wellness counselors of the country on 4th of March. That's going to be Friday. Today is Friday. And every Friday we dedicate to women empowerment, reinstating women rights. And today is a program on women empowerment. And that's a wonderful packaging being done by Rita ma'am, that 3 ladies have come. And all of you have given a wonderful inputs to all of us. And we look forward to many more such occasions, many more such programs, because innovation, creativity, and finally, the most important is curiosity. How do we maintain that curiosity? In storytelling, that comes in a very big way. One program we are launching, because our chamber has adopted now Chandigarh city, all the schools, colleges, and Punjab University over here. We are trying to bring in new pedagogy, new creative, innovative ways in education ecosystem at schools, colleges, and institutions. And nice comments have come and a lot of participations from world over, which people have posted. I'm grateful to all of them, those have joined in their own time. And finally, once again, my wonderful gratitudes and thanks to all three of you. It's a wonderful to have all three. It was a golden triangle coming from the pink city, giving a golden advice and giving a golden feelings. And parents, students, teachers, all of us should be proud of our principles. And these kind of principles, those are so warm. We should keep smiling. We should be happy. And let's think about innovations and creativity in our education with curiosity. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Mental wellness is very, very important for all of us. Thank you very much, all of us, those are watching in this program from world over, and particularly various education verticals, what we have got, the CBSE, the Navodaya Vidyalaya,